The lightweight class of boxing is strongly associated with speed, but not a lot of destruction. But one person seems to be changing the narrative, and that person is none other than the Japanese fighter, Naoya Inoue! Naoya moves around with a bat and hammer fist and knockout punches. Scared, eh? You shouldn't be. He only opens them in the ring. So, you can be sure you will get away in one piece if he crosses your path off the ring. However, in the ring, you just might be wheeled out. The boxing world considers Naoya the most perfect boxer, and even boxing legend Mike Tyson thinks he's better than Manny Pacquiao. So, grab your seat. This isn't one you'll want to miss out on. Also known as the Monster, Naoya was born to Shingo in Kanagawa, close to Tokyo. His father also used to be a boxer, so we might as well say he began boxing really early, and the aggression runs in his blood. Now, it is easy to assume since he became a champ very early in life, he has had a smooth sail through his boxing career. But no, the Japanese fighter was not as talented as several other amateur boxers his age, but something in him stood out. He perhaps never saw himself as an amateur even while going through the ranks. So, despite the protective gear amateurs use, he had a reputation for sending other boxers to sleep. So you see, he seemingly became a knockout machine overnight. A simple look at the Monster does not reveal a boxer that has what it takes to consistently knock people out. His looks might be just a little deceptive. He is not called Little Tyson for nothing. The man is a blend of aggression, an amazing technique, and extremely fast fists. So, fighters perhaps do not get to see his punches coming. After a series of amateur fights, the Monster went professional in 2012 at the tender age of 19. However, Naoya was already ruthless. One of the conditions his team had in place for him was that his opponent had to be in the top 50 boxers of their weight class before they could take him on. On the surface, it might seem like he was underrating his opponents. However, when looked at critically, he was just being careful and perhaps considerate. If he could knock people out when they had their protective gears on, one could only imagine what he could do to fighters that were exposed. Naoya's first fight as a professional ended in a knockout. The world was probably not expecting this, but all those that followed his career from the inception knew that this was no fluke. His first victim, who happened to be Chizan Omeao from the Philippines, was quite unfortunate. It almost felt like he was not in the fight. However, he picked himself up and continued, but it was all over in the fourth round as the Monster's opponent was out of the game. He then went on to face a couple of other fighters before getting his first shot at a title. The 30-year-old Naoya had his first shot at a professional title on the 6th of April, 2014. Of course, this was a good step in his career, but the hurdle he had to climb to get to the next point can best be described as overwhelming. Or so we thought. He went head-to-head with Adrian Hernandez, a more experienced fighter and also a champion. The bone of contention was the WBC title. This was the Japanese fighter's sixth fight, so we didn't expect him to do a lot of harm to a reigning champion. We simply expected him to survive, but we were wrong. The contender was just too strong and fast for the champ to cope with. The fight didn't get past the sixth round, and dare we say the champion was lucky to have reached the sixth round, as this contest was one-sided. The downfall of Hernandez became Naoya's rise, and on this day, a new champion was crowned. The fight against Hernandez was in the lightest weight class. The Monster knew he could dominate this class easily, but he wanted more. So, on the 30th of December, in the same year, he moved up to the super flyweight division, where he made his debut against Omar Narvaez, the then WBO champion. The Argentine champion was generally considered a tall order, and regardless of Naoya's reputation for knocking out fighters, not a lot of people expected him to go through this. Come to think of it, who goes to a new weight class to take on the champion? Omar was a champion. However, beyond being a champion, he was battle-hardened and had only lost once. And even this loss wasn't convincing, so it would have been difficult to think Naoya even stood a chance. Although the majority of people in the boxing world did not give Naoya a chance against Omar, he did not seem affected by their opinion. He went on to win this fight, but maybe we might not be painting a proper picture of the outcome of this fight by simply saying he won. The Japanese fighter was done with the champ in the second round. Yes, the second round. More interesting is the fact that the champ hit the canvas 4 times in just 2 rounds. This victory against Omar was Naoya's 8th fight as a professional and 2nd in this division. But it obviously didn't seem that way. He fought like a veteran. The Samurai could have continued in this weight class throughout his fighting career. Who knows? He could have held on to this belt for as long as he wanted. However, he wanted more. So 4 years after his first 2 title fights, Naoya moved to a 3rd weight class. Moving into a weight class 2 steps above his original should have been likened to swimming in unknown waters for Naoya. As a matter of fact, many fighters would struggle. But Naoya was different. He had already proven himself in 2 classes, so just maybe he could handle a 3rd weight class. On the 25th of May 2018, Naoya got in the ring with Jamie McDonald. Although he won this one, no one expected him to win in the manner in which he won. Well, this fight was over in the 1st round. I can bet you never saw this coming. It was quite surprising that Naoya could knock out a fighter this rapidly in a title fight. But what was even more interesting was McDonald did not have a reputation for losing fights this early. If Naoya had remained in this 3rd weight class, it would have been more than fine. However, he felt he needed to climb up one more step, and he wasted no time in doing it. The Samurai stayed in this weight class for about 3 years before trying out a 4th weight class where he also won a title. Moving across different weight classes is not the easiest of things for fighters, but the Samurai made it look easy. So he looked out for more challenges and went on to get titles from various organizations at the same time. Naoya is currently unbeaten, and it does not seem like there is anyone in his weight class that has what it takes to take him out. At least not yet. The Samurai once faced Stephen Fulton, who at the time was the reigning super bantamweight champion. This fight, which took place in Japan, seemed like it was going to be a good test for Naoya. Lots of people expected the American fighter to give the Japanese boxer a run for his money. However, things went in a different direction. Before this fight, both fighters were undefeated. So maybe there was a chance Stephen would mess up the Japanese fighter's record. The fight came, and Stephen really was no match for Naoya. The American was overwhelmed and couldn't even launch any type of effective attack. Although this bout was one-sided, it continued until the 8th round where it all ended. And that's a wrap. The Japanese Samurai is undefeated, and the world awaits a worthy challenger. Who do you think it will be?